Hey everyone, I'm back with Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell, and I'm reading in my backyard because I have been inside on my computer all day, so I'm excited to be out in the sun. Well, I'm in the shade right now because of the sake of the video, but I'll be in the sun right after this. Alright, Chapter 3. The wide beds of kelp which surround our island on three sides come close to the shore and spread out to the sea for the distance of a league. And remember, a league is about 3.5 miles. So these kelp beds go way out into the ocean. In these deep beds, even on days of heavy wind, the Aleuts hunted. They left the shore at dawn in their skin canoes and did not return until night, towing after them the slain otter. A slain otter is a killed otter. The sea otter, when it is swimming, looks kind of like a seal, but is really very different. It has a shorter nose than a seal, small webbed feet instead of flippers, and fur which is thicker and much more beautiful. It is also different in other ways. The otter likes to lie on its back in the kelp beds, floating up and down to the motion of the waves, sunning itself, or sleeping. They are the most playful animals in the sea. It was these creatures that the Aleuts hunted for their pelt. The pelt is the fur attached to the skin. From the cliff, I could see the skin canoes darting here and there over the kelp beds, barely skimming the water, and the long spears flying like arrows. At dark, the hunters brought their catch into Coral Cove, and there on the beach the animals were skinned and fleshed. Two men, who also sharpened the spears, did this work, working far into the night by the light of seaweed fires. In the morning the beach was strewn with the carcasses, and the waves were red with blood. Many of our tribe went to the cliff each night to count the number killed during the day. They counted the dead otter and pictured the beads and other things that each pelt meant for the tribe. But I never went to the cove, and whenever I saw the hunters with their long spears skimming over the water, I was angry, for these animals were my friends. It was fun to see them playing or sunning themselves among the kelp. It was more fun than the thought of beads to wear around my neck. I told my father this one morning. There are scarcely a dozen left in the beds around Coral Cove, I told him. Before the Aleuts came, there were so many. Many live in other places around the island, he replied, laughing at my foolishness. When the hunters leave, the otters will come back. There will be none left, I said. The hunters will kill them all. This morning they hunt on the south. Next week they move to another place. The ship is filled with pelts. In another week, the Aleuts will be ready to go, my father insisted. I was sure that my father thought they would leave soon, for 2 days ago he had sent some of our young men to the beach to build a canoe from a log which had drifted in from the sea. Remember, there were no trees on the island, except the small ones, stunted by the wind. Whenever a log came ashore, which only happened once in a while, it was always carried to the village and worked on, so a chance wave would not wash it back into the ocean. That the men were sent to hollow out the log in the cove instead of our village, and to sleep beside it during the night, to me meant that they were there to watch the Aleuts, to give the alarm if Captain Orlov should try to sail away without paying us for the otter skins. Everyone was afraid he might. So besides the men in the cove who watched the Aleut ship, others kept watch from the camp. Every hour someone brought news. Ulap said that the Aleut woman spent a whole afternoon cleaning her skin aprons, which she had not done before. Early one morning, Ramo said he had just seen Captain Orlov carefully trimming his beard so that it looked the way it did when he first came. The Aleuts, who sharpened the long spears, stopped this work and gave their time to skinning the otter, which were brought in at dusk. We in the village of Galisat knew that Captain Orlov and his hunters were getting ready to leave the island. Would he pay us for the otter he had slain, or would he try to sneak away in the night? Would our men have to fight for our rightful share? These questions everyone asked while the Aleuts went about their preparations. Everyone except my father. He said nothing, but each night worked on the new spear that he was making.